Today, we're going to need a bit of time to set up, so if you could give me a minute, Mr. Timer, so we can set up.
Earthquake. Yeah, okay. Yes.
You ready? Okay, we'll go ahead and get started a little early. Didn't quite go a minute. Ken is a charter member of two Toastmasters clubs, Speak Up in Hillsborough. His involvement in Toastmasters has helped him grow in multiple dimensions through the maze of roles at weekly meetings to chief judge, contest master, along with individual and club. Mentoring, Ken has enjoyed his 5.5-year Toastmaster journey. His journey has helped maintain the skills he developed throughout his military and corporate training careers, with the added benefit of improving his self-confidence and ability to take on greater tasks inside and outside the Toastmasters environment. Currently, he's working with Benevolent Forum, the American Legion, and the USO to help the leaders of these organizations become better speakers and, most importantly, better leaders. His objective today is, let me back up. His speech today is from Toastmasters Leadership Excellence Series. That's one of the series outside of the first thing you would do as competent communicator. Then there are 15 advanced manuals, but outside that are some manuals for some special projects, and the Leadership Excellence Series is one of those. His speech today will be from the goal is for you to understand and embrace the skills required to be a successful leader both inside and outside of Toastmasters. The value of leadership, Ken Miller, the value of leadership.
I love you, man. Thanks, Sharon. Is there a straight face in the crowd? Good morning.
Good morning.
On a serious note, and seldom do I want to get serious, but I'd like you to think about leadership. And who are leaders? Leaders come in various forms and shapes. We think of leaders as presidents and mayors of city. When we think political, we have military thoughts. They're generals and soldiers. We have to have leaders and followers, but soldiers are leaders too in their own right. When you take it home, it's parents and teachers. Very personal, right down and close. You're leading your family, you're leading children into bigger and better things in their future. Business owners, supervisors, and all these people are people just like you. And leadership skills that you develop, learn, practice, and promote are the ones that are going to make you the star in your leadership role, and the people around you are going to benefit because of it. What are values? Values are basically a set of beliefs and ideas that are affecting the way people make decisions. Basically how they behave, what they do. One thing we should not consider or get confused with is the difference between values and ethics and morals. When you're looking at values, you want to think the think and you want to walk the walk. Because your values are what comes out of your heart, your head, and your education and your experience in life. Whereas ethics and morals are rules that are somewhere in the rightness and wrongness of things. We're making value judgments here. And they don't necessarily belong in my model, in our model of leadership. They can get in the way. They're your personal feelings. And you don't want to let that get in the way of good, sound leadership based on facts, based on good values. Values define what is worthy of your time and your efforts. So let's have a small discussion, a little interactive time. We have two clubs. Club X. And we don't know who they are, but the values in that club are the fact that they have rapid growth in their membership, but they don't have any retention. People are walking out the door as fast as they walk in. Then we have Club B. I like to call it Speak Up. I wonder why. And Speak Up embraces the values of steady growth, nothing fast, but we have longevity. Our people stay with us. They retain. They're not in the club for a year and then they depart. They're with us for 2, 3, and 4 years, and sometimes even longer. So my question to you, and if you will give it to me in maybe a 10 to 20 second blurb of what kind of values are exemplified by the way we conduct ourselves here in Toastmasters to help promote the concept that we do have strong, steady growth and we do have retention.
One of the main things is to make sure that you're not treating the person simply as a widget, as a unit that is providing the checklist on the Distinguished Club Series as a new member, as a new competent leader, as a new CC, that you're not simply getting their dues paid on time for that, but that you are treating them lifelong as a person with this specific goal here of helping them with speaking in public outside of Toastmasters.
Okay, could we characterize that briefly by saying being P for personal, spelling doesn't count, and concerned. So it's E-R-N-E-D. All right? Any other thoughts?
We're supportive and we have fun.
Be supportive and have fun. We smile all the time, don't we? Even when things are going wrong, we smile all the time. But it makes your guests feel right too. Diane?
We're professional. When we come in, we have specific roles that are already filled before we walk in. People know how to do their jobs, and we take it very seriously.
Ooh, we are serious.
I said
Let's get
professional.
IOs. Pros. Pros, isn't that something poetic in nature? David?
The ambience is therapeutic and it's cheaper than a shrink.
Okay.
In the shower, right?
And in deference to our humor today, we'll call that the brownie effect. Okay, let's just switch gears just ever so slightly and take a look at Club X. In your imagination, and you visited other clubs, maybe you've been a member of another club, what is it about their value system that is perhaps holding them back? What is the way they conduct their business?
Ooh, who would know better than Sharon?
Okay, Ben, go ahead.
Weak leadership team.
Okay. You are paying attention.
I think that many of the clubs who have a serious problem do not have a functional repertoire of friendship after the meeting. There is just, oh, it's time to leave, everybody goes out the door, and you have no camaraderie at all.
Yeah, no friendship.
Well, I think that is superb, and I've witnessed that many times in the different places I've been. It's amazing the difference between seeing the floodgates open when it's over and sticking around and caring about the people sitting next to you. So we'll say friendships. This camaraderie doesn't spell too good in my dictionary. Kelly?
The educational program is not diverse enough to appeal to many different members within the club. Because if it did, more people more likely to stick around. It could be that the program is very focused, and so only a handful of people really feel they benefit from it, and then the rest are just like, I can get it somewhere else.
Okay. So fair enough to say a faulty ed program?
I think perhaps the marketing is going towards the wrong people. They may come in for one particular reason, and once that reason is taken over, like they need to do a big speech for one reason, for their company or for a presentation. And by the time they practice that one speech once, you never see them again.
We'll call it target members, because I can spell that real easily. Not the right target, not the right fit. Emily?
Weak mentorship program, lack of focus on people helping each other and.
Too much focus on just giving a speech.
Yeah.
So we'd say mentor not. So, interesting. It's very interesting to look at, you know what you do here. You know what behaviors, what structures we have implemented in Speak Up to make this work, to make our guests willing to come back even when they're drugged in the door by good friends. But it's vitally important for us to realize what doesn't work. Because when we take a look over there and what doesn't work as well, it helps you focus and stick with the course of the things that you do know work well, and also to try to keep that cancerous, lackadaisical attitude away from your club. Very nicely done. Taking this a step further, there are things that in our club that we do to influence the meeting, to help build these values in here. And we do it in our table topics. We have table topics all the time. Our meeting has to break down completely if we don't have table topics, or we have speakers. It's the exception to the rule. And we do it in a way that enhances our guests' experience, and we focus on that a lot. We have recognition. We recognize people in many ways. What's the different ways that we recognize people when they, in an average weekly meeting?
Best speakers, best evaluator, best table topics.
Thank you for listing them all. Okay, we give out awards and recognition. Okay, what other way? Kelly?
We acknowledge when people join the club, present into the club.
Acknowledge it, presents. Any thoughts here?
The comments,
Yeah.
personally, feedback.
Yes. See how all these little elements, they got you to stay, at least initially, but those are the kind of things that make you feel good and will keep on feeding you in a way that makes you want to give of yourself and grow within yourself. It's very fun. What are the kind of values that effective leaders demonstrate? Well, they have to be able to talk the talk. When you have the opportunity, whether it's in a meeting, an email to somebody else, promote the leadership values of your club, of your organization, of your business. Subtly. It doesn't have to be hard or hit somebody over the head, but be consistent. And inconsistency is really like shooting yourself in the foot, because you're not, therefore, walking the walk. And people sense that right off the bat. You can promote those values in a business sense when you have those great big grandiose annual meetings at your company, perhaps. At the Christmas party. There's very subtle ways, without being overboard, that you can, again, just promote the values. Stay the course. You also are able to explain how the values affect the way you, as the leader of an organization, or as a leader of, let's say you happen to be the VP of Education, how those values affect how you make the decisions that you make. So cause and effect. And that, in one word, is a what's in it for me for everybody that you're talking to. Just to be what you are is wonderful, but sometimes you do something very, very well, but I don't really understand why you did it. And when you share with us those values that you use that were predicated on your performance, there's meat, and meat's important. Be proud. Show in everything that you do. Stand tall. Claim your values. And profess them whenever you can. Understanding also has to go over to your team members. Just because, like in this club, it's important for our club president, who is our leader, to understand the values of each member of the team. The treasurer, the secretary, the vice president of education. If that leader can understand the values that each individual has, they can more effectively promote the values that they're trying to bring into the club. So you have to understand what's happening on the other side. You stop smiling also. And we touched on this a little earlier. Recognition and rewarding team members. It is vitally important. Human beings love to be hugged. They love to be recognized. And Toastmasters does that in a stellar way at every level. You finish a speech, what do? Yay! You finish a book. We let everybody know you finished the book. This is what finishing this CC or this CL means to this person. They're growing. That public recognition is so vitally important. Never let your guard down and say, oh, that's okay, we won't do it. Taking that picture up here, posting it. You know, we say, oh, no, I don't want my picture taken. It feels good because people appreciate you and they respect you. And you stand out in the crowd. Those are all elements that make you a leader. And it makes, not make you a leader, but make us respect you and help nurture your own personal leadership skill. Sometimes in your team you have conflicts. You have members of your team that do not promote your values. What do? It's like a parent to a child. You can't let it go. You nip it in the bud. You talk to them professionally, politely, and you find out in your own way, why is it that you so violently disagree with what we're doing every single time, Kelly? What's with this? I know. But to get into that individual's understanding of that individual's values and try to find out why they're not on your team, and then your next object there is to promote your values and get, in this case, we'll pick on Kelly to say, get Kelly to buy in. Because as a leader, your powers of persuasion are one of the biggest tools you have in your tool bag. The guy sitting up there at the head of IBM and Cisco, there's thousands of people working under them. And if he can't get the message down, or she can't get the message down, there's just no way that everybody's going to fall in line and have a successful program within those companies. And they define it as profitability in most cases. You got to walk the walk, and you have to set the example every day. Not just some days, but every day. To use the words of Roy Disney, and Roy was, of course, the CEO in that of the Disney conglomerate of businesses, and I did a little research on him. It's amazing what he went through. He says it's not hard to make a decision when you know what your own values are. So know thyself, if you will. Very simple. So, in a word or two, I simply challenge you, each one of you, to look inside yourself and embrace your values, because they are your values. Promote those values so they sustain yourself and the organization that you're trying to grow with. Lead by example, walk the walk. Success awaits you. Mr. Toastmaster.